Well, good morning, everybody. This is our final webinar with edConnectr. I'm Mark Sylvester, the ambassador for introNetworks and the ambassador for edConnectr. And it's been a fantastic month. I hope that you have had a lot of fun and learned a lot of things with our various sessions that we've done. And what I'm going to do today, because we've already gone through the basics on how to use the system and how to navigate through everything. So just a really quick, a couple of different things that I may not have shown you. Remember that if ever you want to edit your profile, you click in the upper right of the screen, and there you can get to the thing that you saw in the very first time you built your profile. This is something you want to kind of check maybe a couple of times a year if if you've made any kinds of changes. Kind of go and review those things and see if they're still all correct. And the other thing that's really great is if you have some pictures you want to share with people. So this is a great place if you got some current pictures, maybe of your class or some projects or things like that that have been done. That would be great to do as well. I'm going to keep checking the questions area. If you have a question, just type it in there as I'm going, and I'll kind of keep that over on the side of the screen. Now, the other thing you can do is there's a settings area here. If you click that, this is where if you want to start getting your mail to a different mail account, you can do that here. You can also allow people to comment, or if you want to change how often you're getting your mail. This is pretty basic stuff, but that's there. I wanted to make sure you had seen that as well. So today what I'm going to do is some of the people have been asking me, how do you build one of these? How do you build one of these networks? There's the dashboard, there's the pin view, all of the various other aspects of the system. There's groups, and we see there's quite a few groups in there. Hopefully you've joined one of them. There are forum discussions where people are discussing things. And then for the administrator, there's a back end. So this back end is where we have all of the administrative control. So I'm going to spend my time there. So we get to see how many messages have been sent, how often people are on the system. We also the reason I'm showing you this is a lot of people are really interested in, what if we had one of these kinds of networks for our organization or our district or our company. So, for instance, I can go in and say, show me all the new users in the last month. So this is a great way to, and then you could sort by the join date, so we can see, we've had, a lot of people join just in the last couple of days. So we go ahead and welcome them. We also, you notice that there are profiles and incomplete profiles, meaning someone went in one time, but they didn't actually fill their profile out. So the system, there's actually quite a few of them. So the system automatically kind of keeps in touch with those people, and gradually they eventually will go in and complete their profiles. The other thing that we do is, I'm going to show you I'm going to show you how we collect the words. So remember, we're dragging and dropping all of those words. So here what I'm able to look at is the top tags in each of the areas. So we look at their role. So it's mostly, teachers been around for more than 15 years, grade 5 through 8, interest in educational technology, the areas they can help. Again, what I would like help with, and then their interests. And if you're the administrator, you can actually download all of this to Excel. So you can start to do lots of interesting things with data visualization or reporting, or use this to affect maybe an editorial calendar or content calendar. We also look at how often people are logging in, so you can check on the site how often people are using it. It's actually compiling quite a bit, so we can see there's a lot of traffic. And then, as well as going in and looking at every single one of the questions, and I see someone has their hand up. Hold on just a second. Yes, Marla. Hi, Marla. How are you? You can ask a question. You can go ahead. That's fine. Just put it in the little question area there. Okay. And I'll just keep paying attention to that. Okay. So what happens here is you've got all of the questions, and a lot of the questions were narrative, meaning there was you typed in an answer. So the way I learn best is, and we see that there are actually quite a few, 45% of the people answered that. So what you'll do here is you would download this to Excel and then go through and study all that content. There's a phenomenal amount of information that's been collected now going into our third year with edConnectr. And then you could see the drop down. I love this, the number one activity that people like is Twitter and online chats. As evidence, if you were involved in any of the Twitter chats this month, you know that there were quite a few of them. Then as well, there's the forums and the marketplace. There aren't any ads on this site, but you can do ads, and then you can see all the group activity. So now what I want to show you is how we built it. And I thought this would be really interesting to you. So each one of the sites we build has a configuration area. And this is where you could see, here's the graphics. Here's how we change the colors. So we're typically given a palette and given the graphics. In this case, we worked with the organizing team that you're familiar with, the great folks at Marshall and Tom and Cheryl. They created all of this for us. Then there's project settings. So each one of these systems has quite a bit of capability to it. So like we don't use the calendar because they've got a calendar on connectededucator.org. And then there's a resources area that we didn't turn on for this site, but we can turn those on. We also can turn on a weekly digest that automatically emails everybody on the site with new people, their top matches, things that are going on inside the network. And then you remember there's all of the pin types. Well, this is where this all gets set up, in the pin type area. Now, what's interesting is you can have as many pins as you want. And if we jump back over and look at the site, we'll see that one of the things that's a little bit challenging, because it's a visualization, is when there's so many different types of pins. But you can go in, and I don't know if I showed this earlier before, if you want to make your system a little less cluttered, if you're just looking at teachers, you can go ahead and turn off all the other pins just like that. Okay, so that's an easy way to do that. We set up the pins over here. And another thing that's interesting is sometimes you want to let people in, but maybe you want to turn off messaging because they're just guest users. So you can do things like that. An advanced capability is what we call the visibility matrix. What this does is, it's really interesting, is you can have a lot of different pins inside the network, but you can affect who can see who. So you could say that teachers could only see other teachers by turning off these little check marks. This was something we developed for very, very large organizations that had lots of different types in there that they didn't really want them to commingle, but they did want them to all be in the site. So that's a pretty cool thing that we've got. Again, notice the colors all match all of the branding. Then the heart of the network is really the profile. That's what our specialty is, doing that. And here we can see where we ask all the questions. So if you were a teacher, you were asked what your school district is. And if I click on this, you'll see there's all those pin types. And notice that we don't ask the Friends of Education this question. We don't ask the Ed Champions and support people this question because that's irrelevant for them. So you can have as many questions. You can take and add questions as much as you want. And you can come in and say, this is also something that gives a tremendous amount of flexibility. Do we want a question right? Any question we want. So if this is just a free text, and you might say, what is your hometown? And we want to show that. We want teachers to tell us what that is, and we want admins to tell us. So we've got this capability through each one of the pin types to maybe make a question required or not required. You see it's a lot of capability there and flexibility. Now, here is how we drive the visual matching engine, which is through all of the tagging. So here we can see all of the tags and how they were all arranged, because we put them in groups, right? So we could get tenure, we could get specific areas of expertise. See how that's all done. And is actually Cheryl, Tom, Marshall, and I spent 3 late evenings about 3 years ago coming up with all of these words. And then each year, what we would do is go and look to see if there were words missing. Like I remember we added the word STEAM to the STEM category, and we then can remove words and add words as we go. This is when we're building one of these networks, this is where we spend our most time, so that we really capture the language and the taxonomy of a given audience. So you could imagine the NASA site that we run, the NASA Educator Online Network, which is a STEM site, is very, very much just those kinds of topics. This one is more expansive in the types of teachers that we reach out to, so it has more. The third part is, you remember the talk to me about words. This is where we use that section. And then the 2 sections, the about me and the conversation starters, all in one. So this is where, again, we say, okay, what's your favorite and most admired educator and why? And then if we have a drop down, this is where we do the drop down. So if we want to add any words to this, we can. So we're kind of each year there's a review after Connected Educator Month, and we go in and look and see, are there some new things that have come up? And as they bring new partners on, sometimes the partners want to add a question or have some input to the questions as well. And then finally, there's the My Media and Network. Sometimes people will use these for, like for instance here, add your Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Flickr, YouTube, or school web pages here. So we don't have that exact language on all of them. Some it might be just about professional networks, or it might be blogs. Again, we can change all of this text just by clicking it. So it's actually quite specific in what we do. Also, the other thing we do is you can get in and edit all of the text that's done at the bottom of the screen. So if there are specific things that you're doing with your network, or you've got a specific privacy policy, so for instance here you can see they actually went in, and AIR, which is the organization that's running everything, they have put in very specific legal text. We know no one reads it, but the people who build the site really care about that. So they want to make sure that all that information is, including things like the terms and conditions as well. And that's how we build them. It's pretty simple. We then preview the site, and we typically will work. Takes about 2 weeks. The back and forth. People on your side would have meetings to figure out. Most of the time, it's going to be to spend time figuring out what these words need to be and how to optimize them to make it so that people really have a sense of being connected with others, and knowing that all of this gets used for search, right? Everything, I know you've been with me a few times now, you know that search is really the most powerful application here, and having all of those fields. So let's go in and look. Everything I just showed you, notice, every one of the fields is there, okay? They're all there. Now, one of the reasons, by the way, that we don't I'm not a big fan of questions where you type in the answer. It's really hard to search. So if I say my favorite connected tool is, I'm just going to say Twitter just to see what happens. But I'm guessing there's no real help there. Huh, interesting. There we go. 344 people said Twitter was their favorite connected tool, right? By the way, another way you could do that is to, let me reset the search. You can, I think I showed this earlier, but I could come and type Twitter up here, and it's going to show me Twitter in every one of the records as well, but not necessarily in that field alone. And that's my 15 minutes. So now I've got time for questions. I hope this was interesting for you, in that we went and showed, I don't normally get to show all of that, but because this has been a 5-part series, been able to really, really dive in and show you all quite a few of the kind of the nuanced parts of how to use the network. So why don't I've got a few minutes here. If you have some questions, you can go ahead and type them in the question area, and I will answer them. Yes. So Heather asks if the sessions are archived somewhere, and so I'm going to do that right now. So it's on YouTube.com, and we have a channel, an introNetworks channel, and there are some playlists. Let me get down to those playlists. And so here you can see all of them are right there at the very bottom. However, I do also have, let me go back on this. I don't want to, let me come back. So here is the last one. By the way, one of the things we do, we actually have a captioning service called CEM2015. See their name there? And they go ahead and give us a very, very excellent transcript, which you can also download. So if you wanted that, you could do it. So just go there to youtube.com/intronetworks, and then there's a playlist for edConnectr, and there's a lot of getting started. There's other things there too, other videos that we've created if those are of interest to you. Any other questions? Marla, I know you were interested in getting some more information, and if there's anything we can do for you, you let us know. I think I dropped you an email to set up a time to talk if you wanted to get some more information. So with no other questions, everybody, thank you so much. This has been a really fun month for us, meeting lots of interesting new people and getting to understand how you're being better connected. You can now, get more out of the network. Once the month is over, this network is up for the whole year long. So, and it's open to all teachers. So we would love it if you would share this with others, share connected educators with others, and specifically doing that. So yes, Marla, we will talk. And oh, great. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. And so until next time, thank you so much, everyone. I look forward to talking to you all. Marla, we'll talk in a little bit, and you all take care. Bye-bye.